Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Vancouver Rain Draft Glory franchise mode here in MLB The Show 23. So, in last episode, we started up the Year 9 season simulation, and so far, I think we're off to probably one of our best starts in this entire franchise mode. You can see we are 31 in 52. I'm pretty sure we're on pace for probably a better season this year than any other season we've had before, because our most wins in a season before this was 55 wins. I think we should at least hit 60 wins this season, but it's really tough to tell. Obviously, we could have just a really terrible second half, but so far our team has been doing really well. Like, a lot of players are starting to step up. Sixto is doing what he normally does. Pinero's having a really good year so far, having a 272 average and already 40 RBIs. Ozzy's having pretty much like a MVP caliber season, I should say. Like, his home run count is insane. Like, he has 18 home runs this year, and his best before this was 22. So he should be easily able to hit maybe close to 30 home runs this season if he continues on this pace. He's getting like around 6 home runs a month. He also has 58 RBIs, and that batting average is great. That OPS is great. Pretty much everything is great with Ozzy. And yeah, very excited to see what he continues to do the rest of the season. Pip has been improving a little bit from last year, I should say. Like, it's not a huge drastic change, but at least he's improving a little bit. Cuero doesn't matter too much. Bill O'Donnell, I think, he's doing worse than last year in terms of batting average, but at least he still has over a 700 OPS, so I'm a little bit of okay with that. Ollie Gellman's been stepping up quite a bit. He has been improving drastically, I should say. As you can see, in his first 4 years in the MLB, he was batting usually like a 230 and below. This year, he has pumped up a 278, and he also has an 846 OPS. So I've been really impressed with his play this year, and hopefully he continues to develop. Steve Schneider is also doing a little bit better. He is a DH in our lineup, and Trevino's also been pretty good. So a lot of players in our lineup are actually improving. And then, of course, in our pitching rotation, Garth Howe has been a monster. He's actually up there potentially as a candidate for the Cy Young this season on a team that's not even going to be making the playoffs, which is pretty crazy. Gary McAllister has been okay. He's been better than last year. Todd Goss, I don't know why we're using him as a starter, but I'll probably just use him as a starter for the rest of the year. He is a relief pitcher, and Montero has been absolutely tragic. But this guy is definitely going to probably get a downgrade at the end of the season, likely to like a C potential, because I can't see him being a B potential player at this stage. But anyways, that's that. So before we get into the draft, I do have a couple comments to go over. So the first one is from Krazig. He says Carmen Osuna, the starting pitcher, needs to be fully scouted. He looks like he could be a star. I do like Manning. I don't really see the age being a concern in my opinion. Also finished the scout on Kobayashi to third base because he looks like he could be a second or third round steal. So he's saying to take Osuna if he is actually that good, I think. So we do have Osuna added to this. He's only 45% scouted, so he will get scouted out for one more week before the draft starts. And hopefully we get a good chunk of him scouted out before that so we can know if he's actually going to be that good. And then Floyd Walsh is up there because of a different comment, which I'll get to in a bit. And then there's Kobayashi, who, yeah, he could be a pretty solid steal for the second round. So we want to get him fully scouted out to make sure he's that good. Because yeah, he might be more of a project player, but he still might be a decent potential, which would be really great considering he was supposed to go undrafted. And then we get into the final few comments from Nick Bacher-Barnes OC. The first one says, I like the center field, but I think the outfield is the stronger part of the team. Vera looks kind of nice, not going to lie. If he is what they say he is for round 2. The second base, who is 18, is cool, but he may struggle to develop. But he will be a great fielder, but his hitting upside seems very limited. Osuna is not fully scouted, but he looks like a great prospect. Same with Floyd Walsh. Left fielder Miguel Castro is nice too, to be honest, but he has to have the right attribute spread. The team needs more starting pitching and hitting, so keep that in mind. So he's saying basically if one of these two guys is available, to probably go with one of them. But he was saying that Vera looks kind of nice for a second round pick. So if we go to starting pitchers here, Vera is this guy. He looks pretty good, but he's only 45% scouted, and we won't have him scouted out further than that. So we might take him with a second round pick, but we don't actually know if he's going to be that high of a potential or not. He was also mentioning left fielder Miguel Castro, which I honestly don't remember that guy. Oh, this dude. Yeah, this dude's also going to be pretty good, but we do have a strong outfield like he was mentioning a bit earlier, so it's not as high of a priority to probably grab ourselves another outfielder because this guy literally plays the same position as Sixto. Now, we could move Sixto to a catcher because he does have catcher as a secondary position, but I don't really know if I want to do that. So, if need be, maybe we go with Miguel Castro, but I think he's one of the last players we'd probably take. And then the last two comments from Nick says, Osuna, I like his upside. He has a ton of upside. That's who he thinks we should be taking with our first pick. And then he says, after Osuna, it would be Floyd Walsh. So, yeah, if these two pitchers, where are they again? Let's actually go to Scouted so I could actually see them maybe. Oh, wait, here we go. That's why they weren't showing up. So, yeah, basically, if Osuna is actually there on the board, we'll take Osuna. If Osuna is off the board, he says to go Floyd Walsh. So that's likely the order of picks that we'll have for us in this draft. So let's get down to business. Let's go a week ahead of time and see what we could snag up in this draft. And hopefully Osuna is actually pretty good because we are a week away from the draft. So let's advance all the way to here and see what happens. No on that, and let's go to the draft. We will add, I guess, everybody that's 100% to our draft list. Anybody below that, we won't. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Osuna actually still might be that good. We only got him up to 85% scouted, but he might be that good. And then Floyd Walsh is going to be good too, probably, but he's 22. That's the only thing with him. But I actually should add both those guys, I guess, to our draft queue, even if they aren't 100% scouted. I just want to make sure we have the right players on this draft queue so we could probably snag some players up. Let's actually add anybody that's a pretty high scouted percentage, just to give us a good wide variety of prospects. Anybody that's like below 70% though, probably not, unless we absolutely have to. I'm very excited to see this draft though. I know it's going to be not a great draft probably for this league because we've had some really terrible drafts the last few years in terms of like the drafts just never full on quality wise. So I'm hoping this is a little bit of a better draft, but I don't think it's going to. So hopefully we have like a generational kind of draft in the future. So yeah, we're pretty much just going to add anybody that's like, I don't know, 65 and above. The 50%ers are kind of a risk, so. But might as well add as much players to this as possible. Oh man, I just added a 54% one. I didn't want to do that, but oh well. Not that it matters too much. But I think our scouting method did pretty good. It didn't actually fully scout a lot of starting pitchers, sure. But it did get us a wide variety of pitchers that are available. Like, see, even this guy, for example, the shortstop. Actually, no, we did actually scout that with that guy. But if that was a starting pitcher, for example, we would have found out something about a late round guy or a late draft guy that we could potentially take in a later round. So hopefully we get some good late round steals. Hopefully our first pick, which is 5th overall, is pretty solid too. And there you go. So we are at that. So let's go to the draft and see what goes off the board before our pick. And like I said, I'm hoping that Osuna falls to us so we can take him. He's definitely our top option that we want to go with. Then Floyd Walsh, and then it would probably be Hull. After that, most of the players are probably outside of the first round for us. So the Reds have first, followed by Arizona, Cleveland, and the Philadelphia Phillies. So hopefully none of them take Osuna, because that's who we want. He looks pretty good. This is what our scout's saying. He could be up to a 72 overall, which would be great, but I feel like he's going to be more of a 60 overall player. Now, he does already have really good pitch velocity, which is a good thing, but yeah, I feel like he's going to be on the lower overall spectrum, like maybe a 60 overall, maybe a 58, something like that. I don't think he's going to be super high out of the draft. While Floyd Walsh, he's probably going to be maybe around the same overall, maybe a little bit higher overall-wise. His overall is very good, potentially, between a 64 and a 74, and he's got good potential too. So if we get stuck taking Floyd Walsh, that's a win no matter what too. So let's see how the top 4 go, and hopefully one of our guys is still there. Hopefully it's not the second baseman we get stuck with, because I would rather another nice starting pitcher to add to our rotation. So number 1, that looks like Osuna. No, it's not. I don't think it is. Oh, it's Erickson Zell, the center fielder, going first overall. We did scout out this guy. I wasn't expecting him to go number 1, because our scouts had him at number 7, which is interesting. So he goes to the Reds. Hopefully that's a good pick for them in a sense. Not that it really matters because we want our team to have the best picks, not any other teams. But hopefully some of these teams are actually making good decisions here. Number 2, the Diamondbacks take Paul Bentley, who our scouts were not liking the looks of. That's a major reach by the Diamondbacks. They think they found the stud in a starting pitcher in him. Our scouts say he's pretty high overall, but he doesn't have the potential. So that might be a really bad pick there for the D-backs if our scouts are accurate on that. Just because, yeah, that guy might be like a D potential guy or a C potential guy to go second overall. Number 3, the Guardians. What are they going to take? They take Richard Manning. So there is Manning, who we were looking at potentially as well. You guys were mentioning about him. Not worrying about his age too much, but he goes 3rd overall to the Guardians. He's going to be a really high overall out of the gate with a high potential probably as well. The only problem is he is 23, but that's not a huge problem. So that should be a good pick there for the Guardians. And the Phillies, who are they going to take at 4? And then it's our selection, which hopefully we make the right call here. Let's see. They take Ted Dodson, who we were looking at as well, but he's not going to be probably super great. So we honestly might get the best player in this draft, and I think we're going to go with Osuna, even though Floyd Walsh looks good. I would rather the younger pitcher, to be honest. So hopefully Carmine Osuna, one of the two, is a really good pick here. So welcome aboard, Osuna. And yeah, hopefully this guy was an absolute steal here at number 5. And hopefully Floyd Walsh is worse than Osuna in a sense, just so we can kind of say that we got the best pick in the draft potentially. But we'll be interesting to see where Floyd Walsh goes. Let's jump to our next pick in the next round. Where did Floyd Walsh go out of curiosity? Floyd Walsh fell all the way to 14th, so the Tigers might have got an absolute steal there at number 14 if our scouts are right, which that would be interesting if they were. And we are into the last pick of the competitive round, balance pick. And I think we got to take Kobayashi here, because you guys were saying he would probably be a pretty good steal. Our scouts say he might have an 82 to a 97 potential, and he'd be between a 45 and a 60 overall. So, yeah, I think we're going to go with Kobayashi here. Our scouts have him ranked at number 6. But the only thing is he doesn't really look like he's going to be a high overall based on those present numbers. I think he's going to be probably a really low overall, like a 50 overall or even less based on that. I think, yeah, he's going to be probably the best pick here. So let's take Kosuke Kobayashi. Damn, I can't talk Japanese, but there you go. Welcome aboard. I don't think we've drafted really much players from Japan yet, so that's a nice pick. And we already have the first pick of the second round as well. So who do we want to take with this one? I'm going to look at the 100% scouted guys. This guy's going to be a really low overall likely, but he's going to be good at speed and stealing, which is kind of like what we're already good at. He would be interesting, though, because we don't really have a lot of right fielders other than the guys we have in our lineup right now. There is Pedroza. Yeah, we do kind of need more pitching. This guy might be a high overall based on those current numbers. He's only 69% scouted. That's the only problem, because those might not be reliable. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of these guys that we have still on our thing aren't 100% scouted. So most of the players we added to this weren't... we're supposed to go to the most earliest out of our scouts. Most of them are saying Cora. He's 70% scouted. Yeah, I think I got to go with Cora here. He's 21. He might be a high overall. Might have a B potential. Now let's take Fernando Cora here. Add more starting pitchers. He's only 70% scouted, but it's better than 69% scouted guys. So our next pick here, we do still have a couple starting pitchers on the potential list. So we will probably go with Manny Colon. He does have the stamina, the pitch and break. Yeah, he might be a solid overall out of the gate. I don't know if he's going to have a super high potential, but I think I might just add a lot of pitchers in this draft based on this. Some of them don't look that good, though, so we probably won't draft those guys. But Colon is 69% scouted, so yeah, we'll take him as well with our third round pick. Hopefully some of these guys could make it into our rotation down the road. Our next pick here, we only have one guy left, and that's Perez. And yeah, Perez doesn't look super good. He's going to be a high overall, likely, but his potential's not going to be there, so I don't think I'm going to take him. That means we got to go a little bit off the board here and look at all prospects and kind of just find anybody that we want to take. We do need catchers, so I could honestly just take a random shot on this guy. He's going to be probably a low overall potential guy, or he might be a high potential and a low overall, so I think I'm just going to take a chance on this guy because why not? So welcome aboard, Joe Reeder. We'll see how good this guy is, and hopefully he's decent because we do need a catcher prospect. Let's see what else there is here. I probably won't take Perez unless it's like a 7th round pick, because I honestly, or not a 7th round pick, a 6th round pick, because I honestly don't know what else we really want to get here. Is there any other 99 potential players? Doesn't really look like it. There's a 98 here, another catcher. Let's take another catcher. I'm going to go off the board and take a couple catchers here just to see if we could find some more good ones. I know we do have some in the system like Halpern and whatnot, but to me there's nobody that's really that enticing in our catcher pool. So we'll see if we're able to find one here in this draft. In our last pick of the draft, we want to go with a right fielder that might be decent. Now let's take a chance with Julio Hernandez, because if he has a good potential, that would be okay with me too. So I'll take him. Julio Hernandez, welcome aboard. So there's our draft. I think that might be an okay draft. It's hard to tell, obviously. So let's get to signing these players. And hopefully we made the right calls on those picks. Who made the home run derby this year, out of curiosity? Nobody. I'm surprised Ozzy didn't make it. He must have fallen off a little bit over that last week or something like that, because he should have probably been in that home run derby likely, but he wasn't. Who made the All-Star game, though, this season? I am curious on that front. Let's just go play full game, because obviously we're just taking a look at the rosters. So Garth Howe made it, of course. So Garth Howe is one of the starting pitchers for the AL this year. That's great to see. We also do have no other starting pitchers or pitchers in general. So only one pitcher this year. And then in terms of batters, we do have nobody else? Or am I blind? Did Ozzy not make the All-Star game? Yeah, I think Ozzy didn't make the All-Star game and nobody else made the All-Star game. It was only Garth Howe. Which, if that's the case, damn, Ozzy got snubbed. I can't tell. I don't think so. The AL wins the All-Star game, so Garth Howe and his team at least gets the win. Let's get to our signing period. Hopefully we made the right picks here in this draft, and hopefully we found some steals with those random picks at the end. Okay, so our first player that we need to sign definitely is Osuna. He has the interest. Let's just see if he'll accept. He already accepts. That's exactly what we need. That's exactly what we need. We'll also try and sign Kobayashi already, and he declines, so that's okay. We'll get his interest a little bit higher. We'll try and sign our other ones as well here. Cora's accepted, nice. Manny Colon, he's accepted, nice. Yeah, we're getting everybody almost on day one, which is good. We got to scout out the rest of these guys a little bit longer so their interest gets higher. Let's actually get both 47% up there first. And we'll keep Kobayashi there too, because we don't know about that 42% interested guy. But let's see if we could get the interest higher a little bit. And then hopefully we could sign pretty much everybody we drafted, because that would be great. Damn, we're on a major losing streak now. Now we're not going to hit 60 wins this season, just watch. Oh yeah, Kobayashi, he's if he has 99 potential, that would be awesome. I don't know for sure if he's going to be that good, but let's see if we can get him to sign. There we go. Kobayashi's accepted, which means the rest of these guys will get scouted out for the last little bit. Obviously, we don't know a lot about them yet, but hopefully they are good potential players at least. They don't have to be the most insane players in the world, but hopefully they could be into our lineup in the future. Okay, we got a couple above 50%. Hey, Ackerman accepts. Nice. What about Reeder? Will he accept? No, he declines so far. We'll leave the other one there because Hernandez is still under 50%. He's the only one that we might end up losing just because of his low interest right now. We'll see though. 10-4 win to end of our losing streak. That's a nice win to have. Let's see. Reeder. He has accepted, so we're just down to Julio Hernandez. And we still have 12 days left to get him signed, which is nice. I think we should probably be able to get mostly everybody here back. Let's see, can we get him or not back? Everybody here signed. Hey, there we go. We didn't even use all our money. And we still have $1 million for bonus allotment money, but we don't need to sign anybody. That's pretty nice. So there is that. Let's advance a couple more days. Actually, how much days do we have until the end of the draft period? 9 days. Okay. So 9 days until we find out if we made the right call, which I hope we really did. I hope we did. And if not, hopefully at least we got the best players in the draft, because honestly it could have just been another crappy draft. We're just going to go auto on all that. No, thank you. I don't want to stop the simulation, goddamn. Skip through this. There's another win over Baltimore. Hey, we're on a winning streak all of a sudden. And then it ends. And we finish off the month with a 38-72 record. Yeah, we're not doing too well anymore. We do still have 6 in the off-season contracts to do out, but we'll obviously do those in the off-season. Are we at the right time to take a look at our picks here? No, we are not. We have one more day. One more day, and then we find out how good those players are. And then we'll also take a look at our updated player stats a little bit here for the MLB, at least not for double and triple A yet, because those will be in next episode. But let's advance one more day and see how we did this year in terms of the draft. Did we make the right call with Osuna at number 5? Yes, we did. Let's go. A potential, finally. We got an A potential player in the first round. 68 overall at 18 as well. Osuna is going to be great. He wasn't even fully scouted, so it was a little bit of a risk for us, but yeah, he's going to be really good. He's got 5 different pitches as well, so 4-seamer, a slider, a changeup, a 2-seamer, and a 12-6 curve, which is pretty slow. So he doesn't really necessarily have the velocity on some of his pitches, but according to this, he actually has good velocity. So yeah, he's probably a couple years away from being one of our best pitchers. Like him behind Garth Howe or above Garth Howe would be awesome. Like if he's got 99 potential, just imagine him and Garth Howe. Like that would be a great 1-2 punch. And then the rest of the guys could be made up of guys like McAllister or the other guys we drafted this year. Who knows? Maybe those guys are good too. So that's a great pick there. Another good Venezuelan for this team. Let's see what our second pick is going to look like. A potential for Kobayashi. Let's go. Shout out to the 2 of you guys that mentioned about taking these guys, because Kobayashi I didn't really see yet, but he has a potential as well. 56 overall at 18. Isn't also that terrible, because it isn't on the lower end of 50s. It's much better than having like a 48 overall at 18. So having him at a 56, he might be a year away, or he might honestly start right away in Double A next season. So there's a great pick from Japan. Obviously he needs a lot of development in terms of like his hitting, but he looks more to be a power hitter, so we might develop him into being our power hitter for the team, or one of our power hitters, because obviously we're a good contact and speed team, or a decent contact team, I should say, and speed team. But yeah, this is going to be a great pick for us, and he's a third base, which obviously we didn't really need a third base, I don't feel like, but obviously he is good for the future, which is perfect. Our next pick here, we got a B potential in Cora. So Cora is also pretty solid. 66 overall at 21. Isn't really that low of an overall, I'd say, but obviously he's going to be a little bit older when he makes the majors, but regardless, this guy's pretty solid. I would take another B potential player. It's about time we've had some good drafts. So there's a great pick, I'd say. Our next pick in Manny Cologne looks pretty good as well. B potential at 21, 60 overall, so a little bit different between the 2 of them. The good thing about Cologne is he's a left-handed pitcher. We don't really have a lot of left-handers. In our current pitching rotation, I think everybody's a right-hander, so this guy will fit in perfectly for the future of this team. Also, Cora, the only thing I don't like about him, I didn't even realize, he only has 3 different types of pitches as a starting pitcher, which is not really that great. He doesn't even have a fastball. He has a cutter, a changeup, and a splitter. And then Cologne has 5 pitches, though. 4-seam fastball, a slider, a 12-6 curve, a 2-seamer, and a circle change. I like that. So there is that. And then our next player, Joe Reeder, also has B potential. He is a 51 at 18, so he is probably into the mix kind of with the other catchers like Halpern and whatnot, but who knows, maybe this guy will be a future catcher for his team. Maybe he'll be more and more at the double or triple A level, but there's another solid potential at least. And then our next pick, which is another catcher, is also a B potential, but a pretty low overall in Ackerman, 45 at 18. Does actually have pretty solid contact for a guy that's only a 45 overall, so he might end up being something. In general, I think that's a pretty good draft, and Hernandez actually has A potential too. 48 overall, 20, not the best, but at least he has a good potential, and who knows, maybe he develops into something. He's also from Venezuela. So we had a great draft. That draft actually surprised me quite a bit. Osuna's only got the 91 potential, but that's okay. I don't need him to have a 99 potential. So there's a great pick. Kobayashi has 93 potential, so that was a great steal for our competitive round balance pick. Cora's got 83 potential, so not the most insane potential, but it's definitely useful to fill out the third to fifth place in our pitching rotation, because obviously we can't have studs throughout the entire 5 pitchers that we have. Colonna has 89 potential, so he was very close to being an A potential player. Reeder has 88 potential. Ackerman has 86 potential, so pretty good there. And Hernandez has 94 potential, but I feel like he's definitely the type of player that's going to take a long time to develop, and he might not reach it, but he might be a solid player for us in the outfield in 10 years, who knows. So that's a pretty good draft, a lot better drafts than we've had in the past. If you compare that to last year's draft and the year before, it is miles better, because the other drafts we had were all players in the 70s, and some of them are 86 potential, 81 potential, but now we finally got a bunch of A potential guys for this team. Now the question is, how did we compare to other teams around the league? Because I am curious about that other pitcher that we could have taken, how good he was, and how good the top 5 other than our picks were as well. So let's take a look at some other teams. So Seattle, pretty meh draft for them. They do get a closing pitcher that has okay potential, but no A potential players for them. Then we head to Texas. No A potential players for them either. So maybe we did have a good draft. Who knows? Maybe the other teams just didn't do good. Atlanta. No A potential players. Yeah, maybe we just found the good players in the draft and the other teams didn't. Mason Hull was pretty good. He does have 92 potential. He's a 61 overall. Obviously, like you guys were saying, he's not the best contact hitter, but that speed, that stealing, the reaction, the defensive play, pretty good. And obviously him being at least an A potential at 19, he's going to be a good player. Don't get me wrong, but I do like our pitcher. I'd say a little bit better because he's a 7 overall point better, and he has a little bit lower potential, but I do like our player a little bit better. So at least they got an A potential guy, though. Chavez is also kind of solid as a closer. And then Loftus is a solid, actually not really solid. 47 at 22 is pretty low. The next players, the Mets did not do so well in the draft. Villarreal and Valdez, kind of low potentials. No A guys. Phillies, ooh, they took Ted Dodson before our pick, right? I think so. Ted Dodson's not that good. That's a pretty big miss if they took him at 4. I think they did. Trevino's pretty solid, though, but he is 22 already. So there's that. Del Villar, who went, I believe, after our pick, is pretty good as well. 63 at 18, 88 potential. So it seems like there was a lot of good pitchers in this draft. And then Damon Berg, 42 overall. At 19 is pretty low, but at least he's got an 85 potential. Swanson's the best pick for the Cubs. Other than that, no A potential guys. Senzel, who went first overall, is solid, but he's not really a first overall player. 67, actually, yeah, he is a first overall player, kind of. He doesn't have necessarily the potential, but if we were to do potential upgrades for other teams, he would be a guy that could easily get that, because that contact hitting is pretty damn good. He's also got good speed, good stealing. He's going to be a very solid player. Good fielding as well for an outfielder, so that's good. Not a solid bat, or not a bad pick for the Reds, I'd say. Obviously, it kind of sucks for them that he's 99, not an A potential player, but he's still going to be solid. Oh my goodness. So the Brewers had a really good draft. They drafted 2 good starting pitchers. Eddie Vera, who we could have drafted, 93 potential, 62 overall at 18. Yeah, this guy's going to be a really good starting pitcher for them. And they also grabbed Garrett Moser, who's a 60 overall at 18, 92 potentials. So they also got 2 really good pitchers in this draft. So Yeah, this is definitely a good draft for pitchers. We could have taken Chambers, but he's kind of a project. There's also Dave Peace, who they grabbed. Yeah, pretty solid draft for the Brewers. For the Pirates, they grabbed Ramon Calzado, who we looked at. He's got B potential. 65 is not bad for a 20-year-old. 83 potential only kind of sucks, but that's still a solid pick, I'd say, for them. We did look at this Batista guy. He's not really that good. He's got low potential, and he's kind of a low overall. And then Yamaguchi, though, is actually a solid pick. 57 at 18, kind of low, but 89 potential. Then we head to the Diamondbacks. Oh my. Paul Bentley was the second overall pick, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and they absolutely woofed on this pick, as our scouts were predicting. Oh my goodness. 66 overall at 22. Not terrible in terms of overall, but he's only got a 68 potential, so this guy might be a career double-A player, but my God. For taking him in the top 5, that's a really bad pick there, the D-backs. Then again, the D-backs moved up quite a bit in the lottery, so at least they kind of missed with their pick with that. The Rockies, they did get a couple good players. Ken Grimm is solid. Buford McLean, what a name. 57 overall, solid, I guess. Eric Hudson, solid. The Dodgers got a couple 180 potential guy, nothing really else in Ramirez. Yeah, maybe we just killed the draft, I guess. Other teams didn't do so well. Some teams did good, but they didn't do, I think, as good as us. Like, the Brewers definitely were up there because they had 2 good pitching prospects, but I'm not seeing the depth that we grabbed. Rob Kinger, who we looked at, oh my goodness. I did have this guy fully scouted, so I'm glad I had him fully scouted, but some team in the Giants took him early. And, yeah, he's only got deep potential, so that's a big oof there, too. Francisco Morales, really solid there. 69 and 22 is pretty solid, I'd say. 87 potential, decent. He's not going to be anything like an A potential guy, but still. Boston got Pelerio, pretty solid. David Gelman, so maybe a relative of our Gelman. He goes to Boston. Not a great draft for the Yankees. Edgar Mendoza, decent. Cabrera, decent. Chavez, decent. But yeah, no teams had a draft like ours, it looks like, in terms of A potentials and B potentials. Like, a lot of them, we might have drafted like every single good player that we could get. Oh, okay, there's another team with a good draft. The Guardians had a good draft. Richard Manning, who we were looking at, and some of you guys said it's not to worry about him because he's already 23. He's a 71 overall, only B potential, but still would be a really good outfielder for the Guardians. Likely could make the MLB really soon. He's got insane speed and stealing, so. And the contact hitting against lefties is pretty good too. So this guy's going to be a threat for sure in terms of stealing the base. And in the outfield, looks like he could be somewhat good defensively. Jimmy Watts, though, is a pretty good steal there too. Only 21 years old, 63 overall, but 92 potential. And Antonio Blanco has solid upside, B potential upside, and he's a 46 at 18. And then we go to Floyd Walsh, who was the other guy we could have drafted, 68 at 22 with 88 potential. So that's what we would have taken if Osuna was off the board. I don't know if I would have liked that pick as much. He's as good as Osuna right now, but he's much older. So that's the one thing that's a little bit different between the two of them. Also the potential. And then Sam Leone is really good. 70 overall closing pitcher with 89 potential. Yeah, it's going to be a solid closer for them. Nothing really there other than Hinoyo for the Royals. There is Howard Hughes for the Twins. There is another A potential here in Pacheco. We did scout out this guy, I think. 50 overall at 19 kind of sucks, but 91 overall potential is good. So, Freddie Sanchez, solid. Doug Sosa is okay. And yeah, we definitely killed this draft. We absolutely killed it. And we needed to do that as well to help with our team becoming a better team as soon as possible. Yeah, we definitely killed this draft. especially in terms of potential, but also a lot of these guys are somewhat solid overalls. Like Cora being a 66 already is very helpful. I like that draft a lot for us. Final thing to end this episode, because it is already running pretty long, let's take an updated look at our player stats. 6-0's down to a 280, but still good. I think that's actually up to an 280, maybe. I don't know. But there's his stats. Pinheiro is down to a 2... Wait, Pinheiro? Yeah, Pinheiro did drop off a lot, it looks like. He's down to a 244, because I think he was at a 270, if I'm not mistaken. Ozzy's still killing it. He's at a career high in home runs and his RBIs as well. He's almost at a 290 average. His average definitely dropped, but at least like he's at career high in numbers. Pip up to a 238. O'Donnell's at a 238. Gelman's at a 268. Steve Schneider's at a 205. He dropped off a lot recently. And Trevino's at a 261. In terms of our pitchers at the moment, I want to take a look at that too. Garth Howe has started to lose a lot more games, but his ERA has improved, and his whip is pretty much the same. He's up to a 97. Oh my god, this guy's almost max potential, or max overall. That ERA is great, that whip is great, that WAR is great, that FIP is insane. I wonder where he is now in terms of potentially winning the Cy Young. Where are you in terms of winning the Cy Young there, Mr. Howe? Where are you? He's not even in the talks for the Cy Young anymore. Wow. That is kind of surprising with those type of numbers, because he's on a non-playoff team. It's probably because of the lack of wins. Like, if he was on a team that was making the playoffs, he'd have a lot more wins than what he currently has. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Vancouver Rain Draft Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll get the rest of the season done. We'll take a look at our player stats. We'll get through the offseason again. But I think this team is starting to shape up quite nicely. Between the draft that we just had and our current guys on our roster, I think we're having a... Soon enough, we'll start to get closer to being a 500 team. We just need a little bit more development throughout our entire lineup, I'd say, and in the prospect pool. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.